And I'm gonna knock your teeth so far down your throat, you're gonna stick a toothbrush right up your ass to brush them.
In The Hangover, one of the funniest and most inappropriate scenes shows Zach Galifianakis pretending to jack off the baby. This moment was completely unscripted. Galifianakis started playing around with the baby between takes, and the director found it so funny that he decided to keep it in the final cut.
Not at the table, Carlos.
In The Wizard of Oz, a shadowy figure in the background during the "We're off to see the wizard" scene sparked rumors that someone had hanged themselves on set. However, the studio explained it was just the shadow of a crane used to create movement with birds from the LA Zoo. In The Fifth Element, the interior explosion during the Floston Paradise invasion was planned, but not its massive size. The blast unintentionally set a record as the largest indoor explosion ever filmed at the time. Production had to pause while the crew put out the unexpected fire, with the flames nearly getting out of control. In 1987, Three Men and a Baby sparked a ghost rumor when a scene showed a boy behind a curtain. Many thought the set was haunted, but Tom Selleck later revealed on The Tonight Show that it was just a cardboard cutout of Ted Danson's character from a deleted scene.
The story was this kid died in the house where we shot the movie. We shot on a soundstage. They built the set and all. And
In The Godfather Part 2, there's a brief moment where Robert De Niro's character delivers groceries, and in the background, a man casually snatches a pepper from a woman's shopping basket. It's unclear if this was scripted, but it's hilarious. In The Deer Hunter, co-writer and director Michael Cimino convinced Christopher Walken to spit in Robert De Niro's face. When Walken actually did it, De Niro was completely shocked, as evidenced by his reaction. In fact, De Niro was so furious about it that he nearly left the set. In Twister, a random naked man was accidentally caught on camera during a cornfield scene, adding a strange and unexpected moment to the high-energy film. In The Princess Bride, Cary Elwes was accidentally knocked out by Christopher Guest. Elwes had told Guest to hit him on the head with the butt of a sword as hard as he could, and Guest did. Elwes later woke up in the hospital, and the take made it into the film. In Fast and Furious 8, Jason Statham wasn't supposed to laugh at The Rock during a scene, but he couldn't hold it in.
And I'm gonna knock your teeth so far down your throat, you're gonna stick a toothbrush right up your ass to brush them.
The unscripted moment was so genuine that it stayed in. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when Cliff is dropping Rick off at set, Brad Pitt yells out,
"Hey, you're Rick fucking Dalton. Don't you forget it."
That line was completely improvised, and Tarantino apparently loved it. In Knives Out, the final shot of Marta sipping from a mug that reads, "My house, my rules, my coffee," was unplanned. Director Rian Johnson explained it as a happy accident, saying he originally wanted her to drink tea in the scene. In Home Alone, Kevin was supposed to move his hands from his face before his iconic scream. However, on the first take, he kept his hands on his face, and director Chris Columbus thought it was hilarious and kept it in. In Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio accidentally cut his hand on a porcelain cup during the dinner scene. Despite bleeding, he stayed in character and finished the entire 4-minute monologue. When Quentin Tarantino finally yelled "cut," the cast and crew gave him a standing ovation.
"This nigga here is too steep."
In The Goonies, Jeff Cohen's famous truffle shuffle was made up on the spot. When the gang makes him dance to enter the house, he lifts his shirt and shakes his belly, perfectly showing kids just being kids.
Cut it out, Mom.
In The Fellowship of the Ring, a car accidentally appeared during Sam's farthest from home scene. Peter Jackson removed it for the DVD release, but fans had already noticed. After initially denying it, Jackson eventually admitted the mistake, though its removal only raised more suspicion. In Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me, Dr. Evil's electric chair malfunctions, spinning out of control. The scene was unscripted, but Mike Myers stayed in character and wrote it out, turning the accident into comedy gold.
Sick as a dog now.
In My Cousin Vinny, the moment where Vinny knocks over Judge Haller's chess pieces was a real accident by Joe Pesci.
Jerry,
The director loved the natural reactions from both actors and decided to keep it in the film. In Dead Ringers, Jeremy Irons appears to vanish mid-step due to a composition error. While some viewers thought it was an intentional twist, it was simply a visual mistake. In The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Daniel Craig's water bottle catch was unplanned. On the 16th take, he accidentally knocked it over but caught it smoothly. In Platoon, after Taylor kills Sergeant Barnes, the other platoon arrives to search for survivors. When someone asks if he's okay, Taylor drops a grenade, a moment that wasn't in the script. Charlie Sheen improvised it, believing his character would be suicidal, and Oliver Stone liked it enough to leave it in the film.
You alright? You what?
In A Clockwork Orange, during the scene where the Droogs hold Alex underwater, Malcolm McDowell's breathing apparatus malfunctioned, and he nearly drowned. In The Fugitive, as Harrison Ford climbs from a fiery wreck, a man's face is briefly seen staring into the camera. Some believe it was a ghost, as the scene was filmed at the site of the 1882 Cowie Tunnel disaster. The mistake went unnoticed for 8 years, until the editor was asked to remove it.
When Harrison looks up, the train is on top of him, and he looks up like that, and there is a man looking in the camera. And I've never seen him before in my life.
In The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, when Gandalf visits Bilbo at Bag End, Ian McKellen accidentally bumps into a low lantern, as planned. But the real surprise came when he turned and smacked his head on a wooden beam. The unintentional moment was so natural and funny that it made it into the final cut. A real shooting star was accidentally captured by Steven Spielberg in Jaws, adding a natural and magical element to the scene. In Pirates of the Caribbean, on Stranger Tides, when Jack Sparrow trips and falls while running through the jungle, Johnny Depp stayed in character by striking the hole with his sword after getting up. In The Deer Hunter, during the helicopter stunt, the runners caught on the ropes, and as the helicopter rose, it threatened to seriously injure John Savage and Robert De Niro. The actors gestured and yelled furiously to the crew in the helicopter to warn them. Footage of this is included in the film. In Addams Family Values, there's a funny moment when Joel throws an arrow on the ground. This wasn't scripted. David Krumholtz, frustrated that he couldn't get the arrow on the bow, threw it down and walked away. The unscripted moment was so fitting, they kept it in the film.
Good try.
In Jurassic Park, a tense kitchen scene with velociraptors takes a funny turn when a crew member's hand is clearly visible, pushing one of the raptors into the room. The mistake is hard to miss, as the camera stays on the raptor for about 3 seconds. The famous Midnight Cowboy scene where Ratso slams his hands down on a taxi that almost hits him was the result of an accident.
I'm walking here!
They didn't have the money to create a full set with extras, so they used a stolen shot, using a hidden camera on a real street.
Hey!